morning, everyone. Hi. It's about 42 of you in so far, and I just wanted to do a quick welcome. Hello, my name is Anna Etienne, and I am the director for Startup FIU Food. I actually wanted to curate this event because of what many of our small businesses have been experiencing for the last few months. Obviously, COVID was something we did not anticipate. And despite the challenges that many of the small businesses that we work with have gone through, we've learned a lot. And so in the process of learning, I discovered that not only could our online platforms be utilized to bring attention to our existence, but that there was also an opportunity to use our platforms to gain more local clients. And so as we've witnessed many of our small businesses pivot during this time, taking advantage of social media, taking advantage of Grubhub, Uber Eats, etc. I thought it'd be really interesting to have this conversation in connection with our local city officials, our local city leaders, to learn more about what their resources are and how they can support small businesses gain more information on grasping more local clients. And so I thought that the best person suited to lead this conversation, and this is our moderator for the day, Janelle Allen, who is the Director of Marketing for Prism Creative Group. Now, Prism is actually not just really well known locally for curating community activities and events, but they've also been hardcore advocates for small businesses. And so in light of this conversation, and even in their work with platforms like Support Local, I thought that Janelle would be the ideal person to talk about what's been happening locally and to curate this conversation between marketing experts in the field that work with small businesses and the marketing experts that are behind the scenes working within our cities. And so without further ado, I'd like to introduce you all to Janelle. Janelle?
Thank you so much for that kind introduction, Anna. As you mentioned, COVID really kind of changed the way that a lot of businesses operate. And marketing is constantly evolving, and there's always new trends and ways of connecting consumers to businesses. That's changing all the time. Digital marketing is the umbrella term for all marketing and engagement activities done through online media channels. And if anything, COVID-19 has showed us, it showed that it is necessary now more than ever because it allows you to cast that wider net, reach a larger audience, and create new revenue streams. So today we are excited to hear from a variety of incredible industry experts who are excited to share crucial tips and strategies with all of you attendees. We have Anita, Alexis, Indira, and Michelle. So to kick it off, I'm just going to go around this virtual room and have each one of you explain in a little bit more detail what you do. Let's start with Anita.
Good morning, everyone. I am Anita Fayne Taylor, the Director of Economic and Business Development in the city of Miramar. Our office supports the city as a premier location for small businesses and larger businesses. If you visit our city, and I'm not going to say if you visit our city, when you visit our city, you'll see we have a wide range of businesses ranging from the very small mom and pop shops of 5 employees or less and Fortune 500 companies. So we're here to support them in whatever stage they're in. And we also work to attract businesses here as well. Thank you, Janelle.
Great, Anita. And we're going to move on to Alexis.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Alexis Fox. I'm the Digital Marketing Manager for the city of Miramar. Basically, what my job is to do is to make sure that the connection between what Anita is doing so well in her department and what our residents need are all funneled through our digital spaces, mainly social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and our YouTube channel as well. And basically, I highlight all of the different resources that are available to our community and to our business community as well, to make sure that they're well versed in understanding exactly what it is that the city offers to them for patroning our community here.
Awesome. And we're going to move on to Indira.
Hey everyone, good morning. I am Indira Perot and I am the Director of Client Services with 100K Incubator. 100K Incubator is a company founded by Harvard grad Ariel Loren, and our goal is to help 100,000 early stage women entrepreneurs get the funding that they need for their businesses. And so my role in the company is, once they have that funding in place, is to be able to help them with the digital marketing side of things in terms of like Facebook ads, copywriting, funnel creation, that type of stuff is my jam. So that's what I do.
Awesome. And finally, we have Michelle.
Hi, my name is Michelle Rupchen. I'm the CEO and founder of MKR Media Lab. And essentially what we do is we help our clients with anything that has to do with their digital footprint. So from your website to your blog, to your social media management, to your digital ads, we help them do them all.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So we're going to go ahead and officially get started. So, there are a ton of small businesses that traditionally sell in farmers markets or via in-person transactions, and those venues have a very personable energy to them. Indira, this is a question for you. Why is it important for businesses to develop an online presence, and what can they do to bring their brand identity and story to a platform and maintain that in-person energy so they can still generate income?
So thank you. So I would say you have to consider it as I don't consider like building an online presence as a separate thing. I feel that in your marketing space, you're building a relationship with your clients. And so just like every important relationship in your life has a in-person aspect and a aspect that involves technology. So whether that's phone, texting, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, whatever, every important relationship that you have has an in-person component and an aspect that deals with technology. So it's the same. When you look at your audience, then you look at your clients, it's going to be the same thing. There's going to be an in-person aspect to the relationship, and there's also going to be an aspect that uses technology. I feel that when you look at it in those terms, then you don't feel like building an online presence is like this big project, this big task that you have to undertake and be perfect. It's the same thing like with your family or your best friends or your partner, your kids, whatever. You're checking in online, letting them know what you're doing. You're showing them behind the scenes of what's already going on at the farmer's market, taking them with you, on that journey, as opposed to like making it like another thing on your to-do list that you have to do with your business, that you have to do in your business. So I feel when you treat it that way, number one, you come across much more authentic, right? And it's also enjoyable. And so, I would say things like Instagram stories, Facebook stories, those type of things are things that you can kind of just, seed out there and just check in and just show people, this is what's going on behind the scenes at the farmer's market today, or this is what's going on, in your physical location, without you having to like, recreate the wheel and come up with a lot of things. The same way you don't naturally have to think about those type of conversations with the important relationships in your life, do the same thing in your business.
Yeah, so it's kind of finding that way to create that personal feel online. So like you said, that content can look like stories. And I know some businesses don't realize that, it kind of creates that relationship. There is such thing as an online relationship when you can build your brand. Your brand is yourself a lot of the time. So I completely agree. Do you think, building on stories, do you think like static videos are good for like their website and their social media? Kind of maybe explaining their product, their food items, etc.?
Yeah, I think there's definitely a place for that, sharing static videos and things like that. I also think that if we're talking videos in general, more so like IGTV and, Facebook Live, things like that. I feel like stories is more of a behind the scenes look at what we're doing as a business, what we're doing as a brand. So, maybe those of us who are on today, like our story might have been, okay, I'm getting ready, I'm doing my makeup or I'm doing whatever to get prepared for this event. So just kind of bringing people on the journey with you, so they feel that they feel that presence, they feel that relationship.
Yeah, perfect. Yep, because at the end of the day, they're supporting a person behind that business, and it's great to be able to see that.
Correct.
Thank you, Indira. Michelle, I know you've had experience with a lot of small F&B businesses and even some startup FIU companies. The digital world can be incredibly confusing for those who haven't taken the dive, and it's definitely overwhelming for small business owners who are busy trying to get their business off the ground. What are the platforms an F&B business can benefit from when strategizing their digital marketing plan?
Well, there's three that I go back and forth on. So the first one is Facebook. I think Facebook's essential to any business, not just the F&B industry. It's essentially your second website, right? This is a place where you can put, if you have one location, multiple locations, your hours of operations, if you have specials, they even allow you to customize your Facebook page to be specific to whatever industry you have. So you can put buttons on there for people to go direct to your website to do takeout orders, or when we're allowed to really dine in again, to make reservations into your restaurant, whatever the case may be. So like, it's almost endless, the different possibilities you can do with your Facebook page. The second is Instagram. I believe Instagram provides the same service that Twitter did for restaurants and food and beverage industry owners. That the Twitter did in the early 2000s. It lets people know if I'm going to a farmer's market today, or if I'm doing a pop-up shop, if I have a specific special. It really gives them that day-to-day view of my business, right? And then the third one that really just depends on your company and what you do is Pinterest. So if you have a specific product, so let's say like, I know there's a startup FIU food company called High 70. They have amazing drinks. They could create a Pinterest account if they wanted to, where they made recipes with like different drink recipes around their different beverages, right? And share it on Pinterest, because the food and beverage search on Pinterest is one of the most high traffic areas next to the wedding section, right? So it's a really great place for the food and beverage industry.
Awesome. And yeah, I think Instagram, like you mentioned, I mean, people are basically shopping, before I go to a restaurant, I look at their Instagram and check out the plates when I compare it to the menu, because I kind of want to see what I'm going to eat. So I completely agree. But would you say that email marketing is still an effective means of reaching consumers?
I do, right? So this has to be people who are loyal to you enough that they're willing to give you their emails, right? Because this is where I got the most emails during COVID from different businesses that I've been to for years, right? Tropical Chinese restaurant, I don't know if you guys know it, but they're not the most tech savvy, but I got emails from them letting me know that what they're doing, what specials they're having every single day, and it made my mouth water. I've been there at least 3 times to get food. So I do think email marketing can be very beneficial, especially during this time.
100%. And in terms of the platforms, how would businesses measure success? How would they measure their success using those platforms?
Right. So I'm a numbers person. I go solely based off of analytics, right? So the first thing you get to make sure is that you have a business Facebook page and a business Instagram account, right? And a business Pinterest page. They do have those now. And what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to look at your numbers. You have to look at each individual post and look, how many people liked this post? How many people saw this post? How many people actually commented, right? And who, like, if you're doing Instagram stories that are interactive, like polls and questions, look to see how many people saw it versus how many people actually responded and interacted with that post. That's gonna let you know, if what am I posting, is it working? Do people connect with it? Do they enjoy it, or they just don't care, right? And if they don't care, don't do it anymore. Think of something else. Try something different and new, or just keep replicating what's working until it doesn't.
Awesome. So it's that trial and error to kind of find out which kind of content appeals with your audience, correct?
One big trial and error. It's A/B testing. What's working today might not work tomorrow. I was doing really well with a lot of my companies, and then COVID hit, and my strategy had to change completely, because the things we were posting would be insensitive. It would fall on deaf ears, and it just wouldn't attract the clients that we wanted anymore. So we had to switch our entire social strategy completely on its head. And I'm sure that's the same for a lot of different businesses.
Can you dive into a quick example about how you had to kind of change that messaging during COVID?
Yeah, so one of my clients is Florida International University's online department, and we were sending out welcome boxes, and we were going to do mystery boxes, and we were going to do a lot of things to help engage our online students, and we were just doing a lot of fun stuff. And then the university shut down. All of the students, not just our online students, all the students had to go on to the online platform, and we had to take away all of our quote unquote fun content, because there was a lot of people who were upset that they have to go online. There was a lot of people who didn't know how to really access the platform. And we went from a fun platform to a customer service platform in like 2 seconds flat. Right. So that was like just one example of how we had to switch really quickly.
Thank you, Michelle. Anita, as Director of Economic and Business Development with the City of Miramar, I'm sure that you sometimes see businesses don't know where to start when it comes to working with city departments. So I have a two-part question. What resources, funds, and programs are generally available to small businesses, and how can they find that information? And the second part would be, what language should people be using if they are seeking similar programs within their own cities, if they aren't a part of the City of Miramar?
So much. We do a number of things to support businesses in the City of Miramar. One thing that we produced, and it's electronic, it's called the Guide to Doing Business in and with the City of Miramar. And it's a step-by-step brochure that explains which department you go to, what you need, and things of that sort. Prior to COVID, we were getting this printed in Spanish and Creole, but it kind of stopped us a little bit, but we're going to continue to do that. We also provide workshops. We, through our business inclusion and diversity division within our office and small business, we provide workshops to help businesses. For example, right now, tomorrow, we're hosting a workshop about certification. A lot of small businesses want to do business with government entities, but aren't certified. So we're hosting a webinar to support, to help businesses learn how to become certified so that it will make them more eligible to participate in contracts. We do so many other things also. We have an outreach coordinator by the name of Johnny Douglas. He does a lot of door to door. He goes out into the community, he's talking to the small businesses, and he's asking them, what do you need? Is there any additional information? Are you aware of this? About a couple of years ago, there was a team, prior to my arrival here in Miramar, there was a team that went out into our historic community. Our historic community is between University Boulevard and State Road 7, County Line Road, and Pembroke Road. It's an older section of our city where a lot of our smaller businesses are located. And they went door to door explaining to businesses at that time, are you on Google? Can we register your business on Google? And we find that we're going to have to do that again and step it up a notch, because during COVID, some businesses did not move quickly to, what word do I want to use? Reinvent themselves. For example, when all the businesses closed, we got together and said, hey, we need to create a platform so that people in the city know that our restaurants are open and they can do pickup or delivery service. And we sent the information out to restaurants, and so many of our restaurants didn't have even a website. So if I saw that you had this great food that I wanted, there was no website for me to see what you served and what type of menu you had. So our next goal is to try to work with the smaller businesses who don't have an online presence to help them do so, because this is not an alternative anymore. It's a necessity moving forward. So we're trying to identify ways. And let me say, in government, it's a challenge because you can't say, oh, use this company to create your website and things of that sort. You just basically have to impress upon them the importance. You can provide them a list of people who would do that type of work, and take away the fear that they have to know what they're doing with Facebook, and help them to realize that there are people who can do this for you. For example, I don't do any of this. Alexis does it. She's the expert. She knows how to reach people. So I'm not intimidated anymore because she does it. So we need to help these small businesses know that by creating your online presence, someone else can do the work for you. But right now, it's not an alternative. You must do this in order to remain relevant today and moving forward. That's one of our challenges. And we're trying to figure out a way, or roadmap, or a strategy to help those businesses, because they're excellent restaurants, but if only a few people know, it's not going to grow.
Yeah. And how would you tell a business who maybe isn't in the city of Miramar what kind of language they should be using to ask their, city departments for the same kind of resources that you guys are offering?
If the city does not have an economic development department, I would say the first place they would start would be community development, which would be community development and or planning. That will help the new business identify, or that department will help them to be able to go to the right places. I would suggest that they would start with community development or planning. In addition, if the city has a marketing department, I would also visit that department.
Awesome.
Yeah, we have a great marketing department. They've really, and we could talk about that later, how they've increased our presence. Alexis will talk about it on social media and other platforms.
Well, that's a perfect transition, Alexis. So in your role as digital marketing manager for the city of Miramar, you work with a lot of small businesses within the city. So how would you advise those small business owners to take advantage of the aforementioned city resources to help their businesses, specifically in regards to digital marketing and branding, to ultimately grow their brand and gain clients locally in both like B2C, B2B, business to consumer, business to business spaces?
Right. So that is a great question, Janelle. Thank you so much for asking. And a great segue into that question is actually some of the things that Indira and Michelle touched on earlier in their answers. So I just wanted to piggyback off of that, because both of these women just gave really great resources and tips for how businesses can engage. And I can speak to that from the municipality standpoint. As Anita just pointed out, we do more of B2B services, but in my role, I have a unique opportunity to be able to service the business to business need and also connect the business to the consumer, which I feel very privileged and fortunate to do at this point. Indira mentioned the use of stories, and my first tip to businesses is always to make sure that they are utilizing their social media platforms for their businesses in the same frequency that they do their personal. Indira spoke very eloquently on how it should not feel like work. It should be just almost a natural thing that you do. And a part of the fun of these platforms, and sometimes a part of the headache of them, is that they are so fastly changing. They change quickly. And so you always have to keep up and kind of tinker with what it is that you're doing, especially with Instagram stories. It can be used as a behind the scenes tool, but also I love to use it as an ambassador tool. And I implore businesses to do the same. We highlight businesses in our Instagram stories. If they tag us, if they engage with us, that is a place for them to be highlighted and visible to our viewers, and also to push engagement and reach a larger audience than maybe they would naturally. And when people feel like they can engage or are getting some kind of benefit from being seen on your platform, they're more likely to return and to share it. So now that you've created this kind of brand ambassadorship, I like to call it evangelical marketing. You have now seen yourself on this platform, and now you will encourage and share that with others. So if a business is reposting their patrons' food item that they purchased in the store, or they highlight, a really nice happy hour special that this F&B business is promoting right now, and they see that reposted on their platform, they're going to share it, their audience is going to see it, and people feel a sense of accountability and ownership for the brand. So that's always one really cool thing that I like to encourage businesses to do as well. And then on the B2B side of it, I am a big proponent of emails. I'm an email girl. I believe in the email system, especially for business to business connections. As Anita mentioned, we did do a door-to-door service in terms of surveying what the need was in our smaller business community on the East Side. Obviously, now people are not as comfortable with interfacing in person. And that's just our new normal. It's something that we are all going to have to adjust to. So the solution for that is what we call our Miramar Business Pulse. It is an e-blast that goes out weekly on Mondays that highlights the resources that Anita's department is allowing for other people to have access to, the webinars, the grant programs, the application process, the certification processes can all be found in that e-blast, as well as highlighting the local businesses. So not only do we have businesses subscribe to that, but we do have residents and other community figures who subscribe to that as well. So again, it's just another layer of engagement for your business within the community and outside of it. I think a lot of times people think that business to business is just a bartering thing where what can this business do for me? But not necessarily. Business owners have to have lunch too. Business owners have to have events as well. Business owners need to eat as well, and they patron outside of that work. So I think it's always important to encourage many ecosystems to integrate when we're talking about the digital space. That has always been the beauty of it, is that we're all able to connect from wherever we are and really amplify our voices and our presence in that space.
Awesome. And you do such a great job of kind of getting the word out to your small businesses of exactly how you guys can help them, and basically show them through that evangelical marketing. Wow, that's a mouthful, but I love that word. So what would you tell a business, say, who isn't in the city of Miramar and isn't really being fed this information of, or, their stories aren't being reposted? Would you encourage them to kind of reach out to their city to see if they can advocate more for those small businesses?
Absolutely. My 3 tips to any small business in any city, and you can take this anywhere, is to first contact the city that your business is in, either on social media or via email. Go to a commission meeting. Make sure you are in connection with that city. I can speak from a city side that sometimes we get lost in disseminating information, like Michelle mentioned, to the community, that we aren't really supplying the resources in the way that we should. So follow them on social media, tag them, use your location, use your geotag, use the tools that you have in place to make your presence known and amplified to your city. And then the second thing I would say is to sign up for a city newsletter. Know what's going on in your community. The city of Miramar puts on over 100 events a year. Well, we used to. We don't know what it's going to look like now, but at one point we were doing almost 100 events, and each of those events has some kind of food and beverage component, whether it be a vendor or a caterer. And to be able to know what those are, you can then reach back and say, hi, I would love to provide a service for this event. So sign up for a newsletter, sign up for a business post to know what the other members of your business community are doing as well. And then again, the third point for me is always interact with your followers, whether you have 15 followers on your Facebook or Instagram or 1,500. Make sure you're using engaging tools so that your business can speak for itself. Take the time to take pictures of the meals when they're prepared. Do testimonials. You can record them yourself. Don't wait for the patrons to record them for you. And really amplify that on your space. Really build up those brand ambassadors, those loyal customers. Highlight them and reward them for patroning your business. So those would be the 3 things that I would say you could do regardless of your location in terms of your city. Another thing is to really get comfortable with language. I know that Startup FIU Food and also City of Miramar, we have a number of different webinars and workshops that can really help you get a handle on the digital marketing space. But Michelle did speak to starting a business, Facebook and Instagram and Pinterest. The beauty of those things is that they offer you a feature called Insights. So on Instagram, once you've hit 100 followers on your business page, you will start to receive analytics on how your graphics and how your content is performing. And it's actually really simple to read. It's really straightforward. You don't have to be a marketing guru to do it, to understand it. And it helps that trial and error process become a little bit more intentional for the businesses. Anita spoke to, the unfortunate situation of people not capitalizing on the digital space in time to really be able to recoup from COVID. And if you are in the digital space and you're falling flat as you're not used to having to utilize that tool so much, the Insight tab on your business pages can be really, really helpful and directive in other portions of your business as well, not just on the social media space.
Awesome. And using that kind of information that you get from that in those Insights tabs to cater your content and really understand, more detail on who you're speaking to. Completely.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Alexis.